everyone, I'm pretty sure that many of you in your teaching have written selected response items and will also agree with me that writing items that are clear, concise, and relatively free from error can be challenging. This is not to say that you should throw up your hands in surrender. In today's lecture, together we are going to explore the basic guidelines for writing selected response items, with a particular emphasis on writing multiple choice. By keeping in mind some basic guidelines and principles, you can greatly reduce the potential for error in assessment results, thereby increasing the degree of reliability of an assessment, and become more proficient and efficient in writing selected response items. So what are selected response items? Well, I firmly believe that you are very familiar with them since they are really the most popular formats. These selected response items are items that have predetermined responses from which the student must choose. Selected response items addressed in this lecture include binary choice, matching, and multiple choice. You can see examples here. Obviously, among three items, multiple choice is the most commonly used items type of summative assessments, and the reliance on multiple choice has increased over time. For these reasons, we will devote a great deal of attention to the development of multiple choice items that are both valid and reliable. And now we come to the main part of today's lecture, guidelines for constructing multiple choice items. Well, throughout this section, we will use some terms to describe parts of multiple choice items. So now, take a look at the sample given, so that you have the visual reference for these key terms. As you can see, the question, "Who was the president during World War II?" is called item stem. Next come for answer choices. One of them is the correct response, and the rest are distractors. The item stem is essentially the question. It serves the purpose of orienting the student to what is being asked. There are two basic formats for multiple choice item stem: question or incomplete statement. Regardless of the format used, the following four guidelines apply to constructing the stem of a multiple choice item. The guidelines for developing reliable multiple choice items are divided into two sections. The first section contains guidelines for developing the item stem, and the second section contains guidelines for developing the answer choices. When you write the items, begin with the stem, then correct response, and finally the distractors. This is a summary of the guidelines for constructing multiple choice items. We are going to discover each of these guidelines in turn. Guideline number 1. Make the problem clear to the student in the item stem. Write the item stems as clearly described question or task. The problem should be in the item stem and not in the answer choices. This guideline relates to providing enough information in the item stem to give the student an indication of what is being asked. It also relates to removing unnecessary or confusing information from the question. The general rule is using complete stems and short responses. Let's look at two examples. In the poor example, not enough information is provided. The student does not know what information he is supposed to think about related to antigens. the problem is made clear in the answer choices, rather than in the item stem. The question is asking what antigens attack. In the better item, the item stem clearly indicates that this is the focus of the item. The better item still has a concern, however, as only one of the answer choices is a one-word choice, while the others are made up of two words, and each has the word self in it. This problem is addressed by guideline number 6 later in the lecture. Guideline 2. State the item stem in the positive whenever possible. Why so? Well, words such as not and except can confuse students. Also, students may not catch the negative when reading the item. Therefore, when you have a good reason for using the negative item, make sure you really highlight that it is negative with bold, italics, capitals, or something like that. Guideline 3. Make sure the item stem does not give away the correct answer. Sometimes the item stem itself can give away the correct answer. For example, one of the most well-known habits is to end the item stem with the article "un" when only one answer choice begins with a vowel. Guideline 4. Emphasize qualifiers such as most likely or best used in the item stem. Qualifiers in the stems such as most likely, best, or least likely are terms that the student needs to take into account when reading the item. Let's take a look at two examples. In this item, the word closet is a qualifier that lets students know what is being asked. They are simply being asked to estimate the amount left over, not the exact amount. In the poor item, the word closet does not stand out to the student at all. A student may miss the word and become confused as the exact amount is not available in the answer choices. In the better item, the word closest is italicized and the student is clued into estimation of the amount. The second critical part of creating valid and reliable multiple choice items is to develop quality answer choices. Many times, developing the answer choices, particularly the distractors, can be a great challenge. In developing your own assessments, you will want to have no fewer than 3 and no more than 5 answer choices. In national exams, students are typically provided with 4 answer choices. The next set of guidelines relate to addressing sources of systematic error in answer choices. Guideline 5. Make sure the answer choices are plausible. Well, it is a matter of fact that some of the answer choices may be unreasonable, that students break into smile when they read them. Providing unreasonable answer choices that are not plausible affects the reliability of items, because students can easily dismiss these answer choices. Let's look at 2 examples. This item assesses student learning at the recall level. Students must merely know who the president was during World War II to be able to associate specific people with specific events. In the poor item, the possible answer choices are far removed from the event, and the answer choice Justin James is quite seeing, especially since he isn't even the past president. In the better item, the answer choices focus on presidents during the 20th century and those who were president during wartime, the answer choices are much more plausible. Guideline 6. Make sure answer choices are parallel in grammar and length. Answer choices should begin in the same way and should be about the same length. If the correct response is one word noun, then the rest of the answer choices should be one word nouns. If the correct response begins with a verb, the distractor should also begin with verbs. If one answer choice is quite longer than the others, then it may provide a clue to the correct response. If one answer choice must be long and one must be short, then a good option would be to have 2 short answer choices and 2 long answer choices. Let's look at 2 examples. In the poor item, the answer choices are grammatically inconsistent and confusing. In the better item, each answer choice begins in the same fashion. Are you still with me? Well, we now come to Guideline 7. Avoid using all of the above or none of the above. Have you ever written a multiple choice item with 4 answer choices and have no problem developing the correct response and 2 really great distractors, but the final distractor is just not there? You may have put in the old pattern all of these above or none of the above as the last answer choice. The problem with this is students may see the very first thing as a response and select that one because they are in a hurry and not get to all of the above. Likewise, students may see 2 of them but not know the other 2 as the third and the fourth and select all of the above. So, avoid it. Let's take a look at 2 examples. In the poor item, the last answer choice is none of the above when this answer choice is not necessary. The item focuses on measurement and measuring in metric units. Another plausible answer choice is the graduated cylinder, as it is the tool for measuring and can measure in metric units. The graduated cylinder measures volume rather than length, but does offer an attractive option. Guideline 8. Place answer choices in a logical order. Answer choices should be placed in some kind of order. An ordering system should be consistent throughout any given assessment. Here are a few guidelines. Place numbers in numerical order. Place one-word answer choices in alphabetical order. One reason for placing answer choices in a logical order is to ensure random placement of the correct response. As you can see from the example, in the poor item, the answer choices are not in any logical order, and the correct response is first. In the better item, the answer choices are ordered from the least to greatest. The ordering of the answer choices in the poor item can be confusing for the students. Guideline 9. Avoid clues in the answer choices that give away the correct response. Sometimes, a clue to the correct response can be found in the correct response. The correct response may contain a similar term that is used in the item stem, or the answer choice may be only choice that grammatically completes the item stem. Be sure to review the correct response to make sure that it does not give away the correct answer. Let's take a look at 2 examples. In the poor item, a word in the item stem gives a clue as to correct answer. The word travel and the word transportation are clearly linked. In the better item, the student must know a result of a transportation revolution, and there are no clues in the item stem that give away the correct answer. Last but not least, make sure the correct response is the only correct response. Well, the correct response should, in fact, be accurate and should be the only possible correct response. We now look at the example again. In the poor item, there is more than one correct response. One could argue that industrial is also a correct response, as the Industrial Revolution made it possible for railroads to be built. The better items includes only one correct response. Well, within the length of this lecture, we have just explored some guidelines in creating multiple choice items. By following some basic guidelines, you can reduce systematic error and therefore increase the reliability of individual items. By reducing the potential for error in a selected response question, you can have more confidence that the results of an assessment are true indications of what students have or have not learned. For more guidelines in constructing binary and matching items, please turn to reading materials. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.